My friend kept his vasectomy a secret from his wife.
That's not good. Trigger warning for mentions of miscarriages.
I, 28 male, have known my friend Kevin, 28 male, and his wife Emily, 27 female, since high school. The three of us went to different colleges and stayed close throughout. They got together towards the end of our first year and got married soon after graduation. They have been married around 6 years and together around 9. By the way, this comes from Deleted, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. And I'm Angie.
I'm Sophia.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily. But we don't have all the answers. We're just going to guess what we would do in this situation. So let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, we all moved back to the metro area where we grew up. My wife and I spend a lot of time with them. She and Emily have grown to be very good friends. And Kevin and I also spend quite a bit of time together, as I was always closer to him than Emily anyway. Before getting married, Kevin and Emily had disagreements about children. Emily was very set on having children, and Kevin wasn't sure that he wanted any. Kevin eventually said he would think about it, and they didn't discuss it again until after they got married. Around 5 years ago, Emily started bringing up that she was ready to start trying to get pregnant. Kevin was adamantly against having children at that point and told her that he wanted to wait until he was more stable in his career. He was still at his first post-college job in a field where junior-level employees typically have a 2 to 4 year shelf life before moving on. He told her that he wanted to wait a few years, as she would probably stay at home after having the baby. Kevin confided in me that while the career explanation was true, it wasn't the whole truth. He was still unsure that he actually wanted kids at all and wanted to put it off until he was sure. After much discussion, Emily agreed to wait until Kevin had a more permanent job. Around 2.5 years ago, that happened. He took a job with one of his long-term clients with better pay, benefits, schedule, and job security. Almost immediately after he took the job, Emily brought up getting pregnant, and Kevin agreed to start trying. Oh, wow.
Oh
boy.
Oh, I see you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's unforgivable.
As far as I knew at the time, Kevin agreed, and Emily stopped taking birth control. Flash forward to the present. No children yet. Up until this point, as I understand it anyway, their only attempts at conceiving have been to continue their normal activities, sans birth control. Since this hasn't worked, Emily has started discussing the possibility of going to a fertility doctor to see if there are any problems. The women on her mother's side of the family have a history of having problems conceiving, although with eventual success. Emily's grandmother and mother were 29 before they were able to conceive, with both trying since their early 20s. Yesterday, Kevin confided in me that before he left his previous job, he had a vasectomy without telling Emily.
Wow.
Because he knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, that's what I thought was going to be the thing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So now that her family has a history of that, he's probably going to try to blame it on her and have her think that she's the problem.
Unforgivable.
Oh my gosh. After picking my jaw up off the floor, I started asking him questions to figure out why the heck he would do that. Apparently, after he began to put out feelers for a new job, a process that took about a year, Emily had brought up going ahead and getting pregnant. Kevin pushed back pretty hard to wait, and she told him that that was fine. Evidently, Kevin was really leaning towards not wanting children. After he got the new job and they started trying to conceive, I just figured he changed his mind and got on board. Shortly after they once again agreed to wait, Kevin became suspicious that Emily wasn't taking her birth control. He would check her pill packs, but he wasn't able to confirm one way or another if she was taking them regularly. According to him, Emily was acting suspiciously and was initiating spicy sleep much more often than usual. Evidently, after considering the evidence available to him, he was convinced that she had stopped taking her birth control and was trying to get pregnant after they agreed to wait. He was angry, but didn't want to confront her with the evidence that could be explained away easily. At this point, I don't know if she was actually taking her birth control or not. He could have been right or just paranoid. Given his lack of trust of Emily and his increasing desire to not have children, he decided to get a vasectomy and not tell her. There was a point where he was traveling for his job and was going to be a few states away for about a week and a half. He was somehow able to arrange to get a vasectomy done during that time. The initial trip was supposed to be 10 days, but a weekend snowstorm caused his flight to be canceled, and his employer ended up needing him to stay another few days anyway. The timing worked out to where the soreness and swelling was gone by the time that he returned from the trip, and according to him, the scar is completely unnoticeable unless you shine a flashlight on the bottom of his balls and look closely. So, in the past 3 years, she has never suspected anything. He always had his insurance information sent to his office, had enough spare cash to cover his copay and medications, and he changed insurance when he took his new job, so there aren't any records laying around. So that was all well and good for a few years, but now he's in a tight spot because if Emily goes to the fertility doctor and things check out on her end, the next logical step is for him to get tested, at which point it will be obvious to the doctor that he had a vasectomy. He gambled on the fact that Emily's family has a history of problems conceiving, so maybe there will be issues there to place blame on. See, dude.
Yeah,
And
of course
that-
he was. Yeah, and that's the horrible thing is he was getting blamed on.
Horrible. Yes, because it's
your
like
fault.
that, I haven't been in this kind of situation, but from what I have heard, it's like even though that's an okay thing to, not be able to conceive and there's other options and everything, everyone that can't seems to be so devastated by that fact.
It does cause a lot. There's a lot. I mean, like just I think there often are feelings of shame around
sure.
around it. Not that there should be,
Yeah.
but I think that like they're just that kind of comes up.
Right.
And to knowingly put that on your partner when you know why you're not conceiving is just despicable.
You're just not thinking about her feelings at all in this situation. He has no idea what to do, but guesses that he can stretch this out a year or two before he has to go get tested. I am really struggling with this. On the one hand, Kevin is my best friend. On the other hand, he is being totally deceitful to Emily, one of my closest friends. I'm not judging him for not wanting kids, but this is something that he should have communicated to her before now. If he had talked to me about the situation before he got the vasectomy, I would have told him that he needed to break things off with her and move on if he was sure that he didn't want kids. It wouldn't be fair to her, and it wouldn't be fair to him if they ended up having children when he didn't want to. But that's not what happened.
And I think, Carly, you're pointing it out, but Kelsey Jade says it's way easier for men to get a vasectomy. It's reversible and tubal litigation is not.
I was just answering that.
Yeah, but
I
the
was
thing
gonna
with... Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. I cleared
We're
it.
probably
already.
about to say the same thing.
I cleared
so
it,
please
but
go
yeah,
ahead.
I was gonna say like it's stupid and like for sure one is reversible, but that still shouldn't limit the fact that like it's so hard for a woman to get one, regardless of if they're like you shouldn't need your
Well,
partner's permission.
Often doctors will say like, "Are you sure that your
Right.
husband
Or
or
they'll
your
need
think
partner
about
is
it
your
for a
friend?"
whole
They'll need
day,
permission
Or
something.
like, "Oh, you can't get it until you've had your first child."
right?
That's often
bring
like
your
a-
husband or partner back, and they can sign off on
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Yeah,
It's
pretty effed up.
incredibly, especially as a woman in your 20s, to get that procedure done. It's incredibly hard. A doctor will not approve of it.
Yeah.
Or not. I don't want to say will not, but like it's very hard for them to approve it.
Right. We love being women in this medical system we've got. It's great. It's great. He's been lying to her for years. I can't tell my wife about this because I have no doubt that she will call Emily and tell her immediately. I'm trying to decide whether I should tell Emily, tell Kevin that he has to tell Emily, or I will, or completely stay out of the situation. I feel bad about the entire situation and I don't want to break up their marriage or destroy one or more friendships, but I also don't want Emily to waste any more of her time when having kids is such a big deal to her. What the heck do I do? Edit 1, thanks for the advice, everyone. He's decided on a course of action, but I want your guys' thoughts. What do you think he should do in this situation? Should he tell...
What should OP do?
Yeah, should he tell Emily directly? Tell,
I
what's
think
his name?
I think he tells the friend,
Kevin, yeah.
"Tell your wife or I will."
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Give him the chance to come clean,
Give
Yeah.
a deadline, and
Yeah.
then be like, and then I'm telling her.
and then I'm
Right.
telling her 'cause
I
that's
can't
okay.
stay silent about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
because he's definitely not going to tell her.
Yeah.
No.
This has been a thing that
It's been going on for years that he
Years.
just didn't even want kids. That's
Yeah.
been a thing.
And she's gonna sit there so upset at herself,
Yeah.
like
Yes.
blaming herself for
Yeah.
no fault of her own.
Right. And also, too, it's like that's not even going to work in the long run, too, because there are other options to getting kids. So she's going
Right.
to push for
Other
other
options.
options.
You're just wasting her time.
Right. And he said that he wants to stretch this out, the testing thing out for another year or two. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, this is so unfair.
I fully also don't believe the whole like, and I think she was like purposely not taking her birth.
He
Dude,
said he
Yeah.
couldn't find any evidence
Dude,
one way or another.
it's
No
the
evidence.
week. If it's the one I'm thinking of, if it's the daily pill one, it's what day does it say on the top? Has
Yeah.
she taken it today?
Right.
Like,
Is it there?
how bad of tracking are we doing for this?
Yeah.
And why didn't we just have a conversation then and there?
Yeah,
Like,
and also the
'cause-
fact that he thought that and then didn't have a conversation with her.
right,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Don't buy
And like, sure, you could just like throw it away, I guess, but like, why?
it. Yeah.
Why are we jumping there?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if she is doing it, awful too.
Right.
Not okay.
Sure.
However, the assumption that he's making and then to not even have a conversation with your partner and instead have like a spiteful decision made off of an assumption.
Yeah, exactly. But we do have an edit. I think I have decided on a course of action. I am meeting up with Kevin for drinks in an hour or so. I'm going to give him this ultimatum. Either he tells Emily within 3 days or I will. I'm also going to tell my wife after my meeting with Kevin because I can't keep something like this from her and live with myself. I will try to get her to sit on the information as long as possible, but if she tells Emily, then I can't fault her for doing what is probably the right thing. I'm going to tell Kevin that I am telling my wife as soon as I get home and impress upon him the strong possibility that she will tell Emily before he has a chance. This will give him an incentive to tell her sooner rather than later. Update. Just left from talking with Kevin. I took the exact approach outlined in my first edit, and it went as well as one could hope. He was understanding and apologized for putting me in this situation. He understood my need to tell my wife and said that he wished he had taken that approach in his own marriage. He realizes he needs to tell Emily and that the marriage is likely over. After some reflection, he thinks this is probably for the best because she will never trust him again and he really doesn't want kids. He's going to sit down and talk with her tomorrow afternoon. And there is a second update. Just finished talking with my wife. Holy F, I have one heck of an update soon. I don't have time to write it out right now because I need to go to sleep. I'm pretty drained from all this. I'll update this sometime tomorrow. Update 3. So, a lot has happened since last night. Holy heck. First off, Emily isn't pregnant, as far as anyone knows. So, sorry if you were hoping for that.
I was not hoping for that.
I wouldn't even think of
Really
it.
don't want this woman to be pregnant with a husband that doesn't want kids.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll try to write what happened chronologically so it makes more sense. Here we go. So, I told my wife everything last night after I got home from meeting with Kevin. As you might expect, she was absolutely floored that he would do this to her, given how much she wants kids. She didn't take it as bad as I thought she would, though, which was weird at the time. I really thought her reaction was going to be to say that we need to tell Emily immediately, drive over to their house in a blinding rage, etc. Instead, she told me that she had something to tell me that she had been keeping a secret for a long while. What? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Okay, well now I'm feeling like she was.
Now I'm worried.
Yeah, now I'm worrying about the birth control.
Well, maybe.
And she's excited.
I'm excited.
Let's hear it.
Now I'm thinking maybe, I don't know. We're just going to find out. Okay. Evidently, a little over a year ago, Emily and my wife were discussing Kevin and Emily's attempts at conceiving. It wasn't unusual for them to talk about this, since at that point they had been trying for over a year. On this night, though, Emily had had quite a bit to drink and opened up to my wife more than usual. Emily was desperate to start going to the fertility doctor, but Kevin wanted to wait because they hadn't been trying very long. Unless I misunderstood him, Kevin seemed to imply that Emily had only recently started suggesting to go to a fertility doctor. But nope. She has been telling him that she wanted to go for over a year. My wife asked her why she wanted to go so soon since they hadn't been trying that long. Emily told her that she had been trying for nearly 4 years. Oh, whoa.
Wow.
What the F? Emily stopped taking her birth control while Kevin was still at his old job before he ever started looking for a new one. You were right.
Oh, you got a couple of a-holes.
Oh,
a couple
no.
of a-holes in a marriage.
I'm so sad.
I was imagining
A-hole
like
marriage.
she's been cheating on him and like she wants out of the relationship anyway.
Ooh, yeah, a couple
Oh
of
my
a-holes in
gosh.
love.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yikes,
That's
dude. So he was right.
Sounds like you both have some big confessions to make.
Sounds like you should probably break up.
That too. Oh my God. She pretended to take her pills, hoping that she would get pregnant, and she could blame it on the fact that birth control isn't 100% effective.
Yoicks.
She stopped taking her pills around 6 months before Kevin started looking for a job. This is the same time at which she started pressuring Kevin to move on from that job. So Kevin agrees that it's time to leave this job. He starts talking with headhunters, gently approaching his current clients, etc. They have the above-mentioned talk about going ahead and trying to conceive. Kevin says no, and she agrees to wait. The reason she brought it up on that particular day is that she thought she might be getting close to getting pregnant, given that her period was irregular and she had been trying for 6 months. About a week and a half later, Kevin is out of state for work. He is gone from Sunday night and is supposed to return late on Friday. Emily had been hoping to surprise him with the good news when he returned, but it didn't work out the way she planned. She calls my wife during this time, clearly upset about something. My wife goes over to her house to comfort her. So Emily is obviously frustrated about this, but manages to get herself together by the time Kevin comes back. She doesn't say anything about her disappointment, but immediately redoubles her efforts to conceive. My guess is that this would be the time where Kevin becomes suspicious about her behavior. He was right that she wasn't taking her birth control, and he became more aware of her desperation during this period. As far as anyone knows, Emily never got pregnant between this time and when Kevin had the vasectomy. During a routine visit, Emily asked her OBGYN if there were any problems conceiving and her mentioned concerns about timing and family history. The OBGYN identified something with her uterus that could possibly cause an issue, but said she couldn't be sure from a routine exam. She suggested that Emily see a fertility specialist and gave her a referral. Evidently, Opie loves that word. Evidently, the specialist wanted to do the first consultation with both Kevin and Emily there, so Emily couldn't start that process until Kevin was on board with conceiving. So that's the state of things. Emily was lying to Kevin about being on birth control for at least 1.5 years. My wife never told me because she wasn't sure what to do, since they had officially started trying to have children by the time Emily told her about all this. My wife decided to keep the information to herself because it didn't matter at that point anyway. I called Kevin and told him about this late last night. He wasn't as upset as I thought he would be because he already figured that Emily had stopped taking her birth control back then, although it was actually 6 months before he caught on. He was pretty upset about the miscarriage and felt really bad that Emily had to keep this to herself for all these years. As of right now, he hasn't talked to her yet. That will happen later this afternoon or tonight. And by the way, what could happen later this afternoon or tonight is you listening to full episodes with more stories just like this one. Just go to Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast app is, and search OK Storytime. And there is a little bit more to the story, but wow, dude.
Dang, man, oh man.
Well, Reddit, the situation has resolved itself. Kevin and Emily talked for a long time yesterday, and they've agreed that it's best for them to split up. Too much damage done, and the lies they told each other were too big. Not to mention the kids issue. I wasn't there, obviously, but I've talked to them both. They seem better than I expected. Both of them are really angry, but as much as directed at themselves as each other. Strangely enough, they were both really glad for my involvement.
So funny.
Emily wasn't even pissed at my wife for telling me about the birth control situation. I have no idea whether my wife and I will be able to remain friends with either of them.
I wouldn't want to.
Yeah, I feel like...
I think that's over.
Yeah. They were both really deceitful to each other and to us, but I think I'm willing to move past that eventually. We'll see how this goes. Thanks to everyone who commented. I don't think I would have approached the situation correctly were it not for some of the responses that I got here. And that's the end of that story. Wow, dude. Wow.
Hoo-wee.
Plot twist there.
Yeah.
My goodness.
It's like they both realized that they were both terrible people, and they were like,
Yeah.
I guess this is a draw.
Right. Touche.
Touche.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I do still hope that they break up though, because
Oh,
ultimately he
please.
still doesn't want
And
kids.
she still does.
Oh, yeah.
Like, please break up.
I think
Please
they're on the
break
way
up.
to that, but yeah, that is just
Yeah.
so... Which is so crazy because, like, obviously they're both in the wrong and they should have communicated this whole time. But, like, he was right.
Yeah.
Like,
That's crazy
I
that
guess,
he caught
like,
that.
Yeah, what he should have done is talk to her about the birth control thing.
Probably would have saved them a lot of time.
Right. But silver lining,
He was right.
he was protected with his
Yeah.
vasectomy. But obviously still not a good thing to do.
No.
I wish that he had talked to her right then and there. Ultimately, though, I'm like, dude,
Right.
you started this whole thing by not figuring out
Yeah.
what the heck you wanted this whole time.
Yeah,
And
literally.
stringing this poor girl into a marriage with you when you know you
Yes.
don't want kids.
Yeah, you're both the a-holes.
Yeah.
Good job.
Great job. Yeah, that's the end of that story.
So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.
My friend made me realize I was just her therapist, not her friend.
Oh no, she should get a therapist for that.
Yep. I, female 26, met Juliet, female 27, in 2020 at a healthcare facility when we were both at a low point. I'm extremely introverted with a strong, resting witch face, but she noticed my favorite game on my clothing and we connected. We were trauma bonded, a term she always denied, believing it's only negative, while I argued it could be a pathway to friendship. By the way, this comes from Money Try 3876, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. And I'm Angie.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We're just going to guess what we would do in this situation, but let us know what you would do in the comments. So, OP says, after the facility, we became long-distance friends, living an hour apart by train. In 2021, she became friends with Mikey, female 25. Although Mikey and I never met, Juliet insisted on introducing us, believing her two best friends were too similar not to connect. In 2024, Mikey and I finally met, and the connection was instant. It was like finding a puzzle piece I didn't know I was missing. A twin flame connection, which we still laugh about because of how alike we are. We started a group chat and updated each other almost daily. My frustrations with Juliet began even before I met Mikey. We are very different people, which isn't inherently bad, but I constantly went beyond my own boundaries to support her. Juliet texts every day, as she doesn't work or go to school for personal reasons. In contrast, I've been working in healthcare since 2017 and am currently a social worker who is also attending school privately. I work 40 plus hours on a 24-hour contract, often cramming schoolwork between shifts, including night shifts. Anyone in healthcare knows how chaotic and draining it can be sometimes. Because I'm not an active social media user and genuinely dislike daily texting, some days I couldn't respond immediately. I often told her, hey, I'm working right now. I'll read/respond when I can. Juliet never liked late responses, despite me explaining my situation a million times. Her daily texts, whether in the group chat or privately, were the first boundary she crossed. Juliet can also be very insecure. She always came to me with issues, feeling unwell, not knowing how to manage minor injuries, navigating her boyfriend's issues who cheated multiple times, or being or feeling burnt out from 2 appointments and a 4-hour volunteer shift in a single week. I always listened, offered comfort, gave advice, and helped her navigate being an adult. However, 90% of the time, she ignored everything we discussed and did her own thing. The cycle would then repeat. Her issues, me helping, her ignoring, and back to the issues again. I told Juliet countless times that I don't get angry easily, but I do get angry when someone ignores me during a conflict. I'm big on communication. If something I said or did hurt her, I need to know so I can apologize or explain. When she felt wronged, she would go silent. Every time this happened, she expected me to notice and be the one to ask what was wrong. It was always a struggle to get her to talk about it, often days or weeks after the fact, interspersed with small, passive-aggressive updates on social media. I'm a student and a young person working in a demanding field. I did not always have the energy to deal with this. When I was home, I wanted to be me, not social worker me, but I couldn't be. Subconsciously, I was always walking on eggshells, dreading the next text from Juliet. These are just a few examples. It wasn't all negative, but the good times were unfortunately rare. Everything came to a head this August. Mikey and I have birthdays only 13 days apart. While I never celebrate mine, Mikey does, so I packed up and headed to their city. Juliet and Mikey live in the same building. The weekend started poorly. Juliet was already at Mikey's apartment and crying the entire time. She was upset because she confronted her boyfriend about who he was texting because he was being evasive about it and he called her paranoid. Her woe is me behavior lasted the entire weekend. When I arrived, things seemed okay. We exchanged gifts and planned the evening. Mikey and I, wanting wine with our sushi, drank. Juliet opted not to. Though slightly buzzed from a challenge, Mikey and I constantly checked in on Juliet, encouraging her to eat, asking if she wanted to watch anything, involving her in our conversations, checking in on her emotionally, and trying to make her laugh. She just said she was okay and wanted to do her own thing. She played a game on her phone all night and went to bed at like 11 or 12 p.m., claiming that she was tired. Mikey and I went to bed shortly after, subconsciously drained by her energy. The next morning, the energy shift was palpable. I'm not a morning person, but I was excited to be with my friends. Instead, I immediately wanted to go home. While I was showering, Juliet complained to Mikey about feeling left out the night before. Mikey apologized, but Juliet never told me this directly. That afternoon, while grocery shopping, Juliet was back in her sad mood. I checked in, but she insisted she was fine. At that moment, I was simply done. I was exhausted, emotionally drained from constantly being social worker me for Juliet, and trying to be present for Mikey's birthday. We shopped in uncomfortable silence and returned to Mikey's apartment. I cooked for everyone except Juliet, who wasn't hungry, and did the dishes, including Juliet's dishes from baking a pie. She's not generally hygienic, though I didn't complain. The thing that made me actually lose it was that her woe is me behavior didn't stop at the party. She complained about being tired and broken from the fight with her boyfriend while Mikey's friends were in earshot. She left after only an hour. Meanwhile, I, with a social battery the size of an actual AAA battery, stayed the entire time, conversed with Mikey's friends, and took care of Mikey because it was her birthday party. Around 2 a.m., I found Mikey crying in her bedroom with a friend. I comforted her and then started cleaning up the party because most people already left or were leaving. When Mikey came out after her friend left, we hugged and collapsed into each other. We went to the balcony around 3 a.m. to talk. Mikey burst out saying Juliet was the trigger for most of her frustration. Mikey was drained by Juliet before I arrived, and they both felt like they were constantly caring for her. Her breaking point was Juliet leaving her party. We talked for 3 hours. Mikey and I had never texted privately, only in the group chat. We realized our energy always depended on Juliet's mood and that we constantly accommodated her. We noticed that we could never talk about our shared interests for even a minute without Juliet pouting or throwing a tantrum because she feared we would be closer to each other than her. Mikey also asked if Juliet had ever visited my place. I said that in 5 years, I had come to their city every couple of months, but she never came to mine. It was always a different excuse. Finance, time, fear of new cities, or train travel. I would offer comfort or even pay for her ticket, but she always found another excuse. We started analyzing things more clearly. Juliet only ever came to me with problems. The moment we argued, she would private message Mikey. Mikey noticed Juliet was possessive of me and jealous of how quickly Mikey and I bonded. We always, and I mean always, did everything she liked. Talked about the things that she enjoyed, were cordial with her boyfriend, comforted her when needed, but we could never talk to each other without Juliet trying to victimize herself, being afraid that we would leave her behind because this happened every time she introduced her friends to each other, always pulling this card. This is so exhausting.
I'm exhausted for you.
Right. Even reading this is crazy.
Ugh.
It's just like you really can't do anything with this type of person.
No, but
at
like,
all.
they usually don't change, I feel like. So
To-
you
yeah,
just have to
exactly.
like move on from it.
Yeah, totally. I mean,
Yeah.
even with like, you not responding to texts right away, it's like, well, that just kind of happens when one person is busier than the other.
Yeah.
And just different texting styles too. But then all of this like victimizing stuff, it seems like she has no ability to self-soothe. And so
Yeah.
it's just like she has all these emotions. She doesn't know what to do with them. And so she just like, that's her way of getting attention. And it's very frustrating because
Ugh.
it's too exhausting.
No, it's way too much. And then to like keep you and Mikey from being able to have a friendship outside
Yeah.
of her is just like,
Right.
it's just not good.
It's like, well, if you want to keep a friendship and like be closer with someone because you're so jealous
Right.
of other people being close, then maybe put in effort to that relationship.
Right. So one-sided.
Yeah. After 3 hours of talking, I cried and cried. I had the realization that Juliet made me feel like I was talking to my mother, always walking on eggshells, being a therapist instead of a friend, constantly having my boundaries crossed, and helping her be a functional adult while struggling myself. Mikey shared similar feelings, and after another hour, we went to bed at 7 a.m. Wow. Juliet woke us up at 11 a.m. by walking into Mikey's apartment. She had a key for emergencies. As me already stating that I am not a morning person, and seeing her first thing was not a good combination. Yeah, after spending the whole night talking about
Yeah.
how much she sucks.
Being like, I just need a break. And it's
Yeah.
just like, good morning.
Right. After sleeping for 4 hours. Like, oh my goodness. I was so drained that I started packing to go home. Almost no words were exchanged before they dropped me off at the train station. Apparently, Mikey and Juliet had an argument after I boarded the train, but Juliet left thinking that it was resolved. I arrived home, collapsed, and slept for many hours. I stayed silent for a couple of days to rearrange my thoughts and assess the friendship, knowing if I spoke then, I would be mean. A week later, Juliet asked to call me, and I agreed. She asked why I was silent and if she had done anything wrong. I listened, then calmly explained my realization that after 5 years, she didn't know me, and that I was never her friend, but her social worker. I never minded helping, but I felt like I wasn't allowed to struggle when she was struggling. She said she did know me, that I was her scary dog friend who is a confident woman and no longer struggles with things. Maybe you think she no longer struggles with things because you always take the spotlight.
Right, because of exactly what she just told you, that
Yeah.
she's never allowed to struggle with things.
Right. I broke down crying for the first time in our friendship, explaining that she just proved my point. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I asked if she knew I loved dresses, makeup, museums, rom-coms, One Piece, Lord of the Rings, and music like Hosier and Florence and the Machine. That I still struggle with my looks, or that I am academically insecure. That I'm actually a really soft-hearted person by nature. She stayed silent during all of this. I told her all of these things. I shared everything in our group chat, privately or while talking in real life. I also told her all of her favorite things, how I see her and what I know she wants to become, to emphasize the imbalance. She never corrected me. I told her I needed time to think about our friendship and hung up. I haven't texted Juliet since August 15th, and the worst part is she barely texted Mikey either, but I was the one who broke contact with her. Some things have happened between Juliet and Mikey, but that's not my story to tell. And by the way, we have more stories and episodes just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime. So many stories to tell.
So many.
But we do have a little bit more of this story.
Oh.
But my goodness.
I don't even really have much to add. Like, I just need
Yeah.
to know what the heck Juliet says to all
Yeah.
of this.
Yeah.
It's crazy to go to your friend and be like, hi, these are like some genuine concerns that I've been having in our friendship, and her just be like, well, you don't struggle.
Yeah. You just, that's
like,
what I know about
what?
you is that you don't struggle that much
You know
anymore.
none of my interests.
It's like, what? She gave very like vague things about her. It's like,
Right.
this has been 5 years. You can't say anything more. Like,
Ugh.
come on. My goodness. Mikey and I actually text every day now. It gives me so much energy because we genuinely talk about things we like. And I'm so glad I found her because she truly sees the real me. We already made plans about her staying in my place, which is happening in the upcoming days. I still need to text Juliet to formally end our friendship, but I am dreading the fallout. So am I the a-hole for not wanting to end a 5-year friendship with Juliet and continue my friendship with Mikey, who I met through Juliet? That's the end of that story, but what do we think?
No, not at all.
No.
Juliet is so draining.
Yes. Yeah, I think, like, I mean, I don't know if you need to formally end the friendship with Juliet.
Yeah.
You did say you needed to talk, like, think about things, so I
Yeah.
guess maybe you could just say what you need to, but
Get it out, I guess, because you told her you would. But
Yeah.
I agree with you. Like, it's not necessarily
right,
needed.
just kind of have it, like, fizzle out.
Yeah.
But
If she'll let it fizzle, though.
right. If she won't let it fizzle, then yeah, you might have to say something. But it's definitely like there's no world where it would be wrong of you to be friends with someone that you met through someone that you don't want to be friends
Right.
with anymore. Like
Right.
it doesn't matter how you met that
That'd be
person.
crazy.
You just want to be friends with someone and not someone else.